Joined now by Roch Kubatko from MASNsports.com School of Rock. Roch, I hear you had a nice night over there at the warehouse with social media night, huh?
It was. Well, it was air conditioned, so let's start off right there. It was
That's
great.
a positive,
that
right?
was a big positive. You know how we are.
Oh
man, it's a sweating contest right now. No, but it was really nice, and I enjoy the interaction, with the fans. And immediately, first thing I said when I showed up is I don't have any updates on the status of the game or where Zach Britton's going to be traded to, and I was waiting for half the room to clear out at that point. But people ask the usual questions about how you got in the business and the job and everything else, and favorite this, favorite that, the pros and the cons of the job. Of course, I talked about how guilty I feel whenever I complain about my job, so I'm lucky to have it, and covering this team. But Tim Beckham was terrific. He went before me, and I was glad people stuck around to listen to me. He has a great sense of humor, which you don't know unless you're in that setting with him. You don't really get that just standing at his locker, small talking, or doing formal interviews pre and post game. And he was asked if you were stuck on an island, what two Orioles would you want to have with you? And he said Adam Jones, or so I'm assuming a lot of people say that. And he said, I guess Jonathan Schoop, because he is from the islands. We're like, I don't even know if that makes a difference or not if you're stranded on an island. But I liked his reasoning. At least he had thought it through a little bit. So it looked like everybody had a good time. And it was a nice little break from the usual, what we do during the day here. And I appreciate what I'm able to do on social media and the attention I get and the people that follow me, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, the blog, Facebook, whatever. Not my MySpace account. I think that's been shut down. But I appreciate it. It's a chance for me to kind of say thank you and give a little something back, Tom. I'm a man of the people.
Did you get your Swaggy T t-shirt?
Oh, I already have one of those as well. Sleeves are already cut off it. It's great.
Show your muscles, right? Let's talk a little bit about Zach Britton and the latest rumors. Update us.
Yeah, I mean, Zach's still with the club. I did check that. I would be surprised if he isn't dealt by the end of this homestand. I mean, there's so much interest now, and I feel like they're coming down the home stretch, though we probably heard that before. It's just interesting that the teams jockeying for position keeps, changing placement here. Like I heard today, Yankees and Astros are the two teams that should be regarded as the favorites right now. The Red Sox are close behind, however. Before we heard Cubs on Sunday, we're only talking a couple days ago, I was told Astros, Red Sox, and Cubs are really the top three, and that the Dodgers were in there as well, maybe a little bit behind, and teams like the Yankees and Phillies were kind of a step back. So clearly the Yankees have stepped up if now they're one of the favorites along with the Astros. It seems like it's coming down right now to those two teams. But, Tom, again, it takes one phone call, one text message to Dan Duquette, and the order switches again. If a team suddenly says, all right, we'll give you such and such, then all of a sudden they're in the lead. That's why these rankings, I don't know how official they are, but really Yankees and Astros right now at this hour should be regarded as the favorites. And the Orioles clearly willing to deal within a division if they're having serious talks with the Yankees about Zach Britton. And I think just everybody wants a resolution because it's got to be tough for him wondering where am I going to be. And it's tough for Buck Showalter because he still wants to use Zach. You don't want to just put him on the shelf now and say we can't use him because they're trying to trade him. But it's a risk anytime you run him out there. And there's nothing else that needs to be showcased with Zach Britton. Velocity's up. The sink's got the movement back again. He's healthy. He's covering first base, 3-1 putouts. Everything's good with him right now. There's nothing else that scouts really need to see. You just have to get the deal done.
Remember, the Orioles made a great deal with the Yankees when they got Rick Dempsey, and they also made a great deal back in the 50s when they got Gus Triando. So let's talk a little bit about Jonathan Schoop. His name's been mentioned recently as possibly being dealt. True?
They also got Jeffrey Ramirez, tonight's starter from the Yankees. Yeah. But, yes, Jonathan Schoop is somebody, I'm not saying the Orioles are actively trying to move him, but they're wisely listening. I think they've been more focused on the pending free agents. However, Schoop's drawing interest. Dylan Bundy, Kevin Gausman, Michael Givens, all guys who are under control beyond this season and next. And Schoop's the guy the Brewers especially have shown interest in. There was a report out there today saying that the sides were close. I was told that was erroneous. They're not close. But the Orioles will listen on anybody. This is a rebuild. Not a whole lot of untouchables in a rebuild. And with Schoop, and I wrote about this morning on MASNsports.com, that they really have to make a decision here. They have not reached out to talk about an extension with him. And if you're not going to do that, if you don't plan on doing that, then I really think you have to be more serious about moving him at this deadline or certainly in the offseason rather than create another Manny Machado position where he's a rental and you go into next season with him as a pending free agent, and every day that passes, maybe, the return for him might lessen some because he is a rental, and it's harder to move him at that point or get what you want in return. I just think it makes more sense if you're not going to negotiate an extension with him, and I would do that. But if you're not going to, then maybe you have to be more seriously consider what offers are out there for him right now while the value's even higher. He's heated up, of course. We see how he's hitting right now, or certainly at the winter meetings and beyond that in that offseason. Look to move him and get more back than you're going to get if you wait until the trade deadline next year. But you know, the club could go ahead and decide to sit down with his representative and talk about an extension. I think he's a guy you kind of like to build around, but so far that hasn't happened.
It's the first time I saw Schoop last night not smile after hitting a home run.
I thought he might mimic the handshake with Manny, even though he's not there. I thought that would have been a great move in front of the dugout. But yeah, he's scuffling a little bit without his bestie.
No doubt about that. Check out Roch on MASNsports.com. Always great information. We appreciate him stopping by to visit with us.